Now, when it comes to revealing who you are and letting the world know that you are anything but a truth teller and more a fraud than anything else, I have been emphasizing to people as long as possible that Nick Fuentes is somebody who is very gifted at what he does. He's got very strange hands. But all jokes aside, he is a very gifted orator, and he speaks to a segment, particularly of the young male population, that is extremely frustrated at the world. You can call them incels if you choose. But in many ways, these are people who have simply not been able to succeed in society, and they seek an outlet, and he is their voice. But he is also somebody who is going to, he's going to dog walk a lot of people into very bad situations. I'm not going to play it here, but he recently came out and said, "I am sorry, Erica Kirk. I had you all wrong. You're a grieving widow. You must be telling the truth." The only type of person who says something like that is somebody who's got something under their fingernails. Now, much like LeBron has what he has under his, Fuentes has his as well. Now, do I really care as much about whether or not he gives away the game when he talks about somebody like an Erica Kirk? No, because in the end, that's not really of much consequence to each and every one of us, now is it? It's just gossip, slop, if you will. But you know what isn't gossip? You know what is slop? This is.
Just another goise at
That's
$20.
all I'll say.
Thoughts on flock cameras and data centers in rural areas affecting PPLS labs?
You know, the data center thing is just like, I support the data centers.
You know, much like when we say, if you support Israel, that's the end of the conversation. Well, if you support surveillance centers, which is what they are, among other things, that's the end of the conversation. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how gifted you are. There is only two distinct possibilities as to why somebody would say, "I'm totally down with the data centers." It's because you're being paid to, or you're blackmailed, or both. What in the fuck does he know about data centers? Nothing. He don't know shit. But he knows enough to say, I support data centers. Now, I would imagine anybody who lives near a data center would want to have it out with him if they heard him say that. Because as I've said before, he has legitimate influence. There are people who listen to him, and I've often said, if you really want to know who's influential, Fuentes is influential, Piker's influential, Candace is influential. Pay attention to the people who can get other people to do volunteer work for them, or show up at events for them, or contribute in various ways for them. And Fuentes has that ability. He comes out and says, I support data centers, without even a hint of irony. He's got more to say.
I think that the data centers should have to invest in the community, no doubt about it. Like, they should subsidize the electricity. Anything that the data centers do, it should not put a burden on any of the resources. So they need to be held accountable. If they pollute the water, if there's noise pollution, if they create electricity scarcity or a rise in prices, the data center should off-put all of that. I'm a big.
Now, when I say that he doesn't know jack shit about this information, about data centers or surveillance centers I mean, just that he doesn't know shit, because the idea that he's going to make a statement like that, you know, if they do anything wrong to the environment, it's got to be on their end. They got to be responsible for that. Have you not been paying even a modicum of attention as to what these centers are doing to communities? Have you not paid any attention to what the billionaire class is doing to destroy communities that dare to defy them and say we won't have it here? They tell them you're going to get fucked 9 ways to Sunday, up your ass and out your mouth. And how in the hell he doesn't know this? But that also goes to show you who takes content creation seriously and who is strictly doing it for clicks and bucks. And he's one of them who does it strictly for those reasons. You have to know that this is a crisis of epic proportions, of insane proportions. If he's not being called out left and right for this statement, then when people say that you're in a cult, then they're right. This is beyond unacceptable, because I guarantee you that there isn't a soul alive that has to live anywhere near a surveillance center and says, yeah, this is great. This is exactly what we need. No, it's a dystopian fucking nightmare. And it's only a certain class of people that are advocating for it. And when you see the scumbags that are involved with the land leasing and the construction, industrial, commercial real estate build of these properties, it make your fucking head blow off. A lot of them are hardened criminals, white-collar criminals, so it's not nearly as dirty. And don't think it's lost on anybody that they call it white-collar crime, but it's bad. It's bad. I always say, you wouldn't know. Put the shoe on the wrong foot, and then you'd have a better idea of just how bad it is. Go live around a data center for a day and see how you like it. See if it strikes your fancy. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't like it. But we know enough to know that all reports universally is this is wrong. This is evil. We don't need this. And the fact of the matter is we don't. As much as people like to, postulate about the importance of advancing technology, the fact of the matter is the people who always pontificate the loudest about the need for data centers are people in extremely comfortable economic positions. It's always them. It is always a class war. It will always be a class war. That is never going to change. We'll always know where somebody stands on a key issue based on their class. Now, there are class traders, don't get me wrong, but Fuentes is not a class trader. In fact, he's a class climber, which is what he's desperate to keep doing.
Believer in, if there's negative externalities, they need to pay for it. But I think they're a boon. I think they're a big boon to the economy. I support them. Flock camera is a little more complicated. I'm generally anti-surveillance because it can be used against us. Yeah. But I don't think people should go out and destroy them because I don't want you to go to jail.
Is that what you don't think they should do? So I think violating our 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment rights in the Constitution is not a good idea. But you shouldn't destroy those cameras because reasons. You'll go to prison. Yeah. Those things were put in without people's permission, and they don't want them there. And yet they're there. And you think people don't have a right to say, get this the fuck out of here? They go directly through their people. They go through the city council. They go through the county commission. What is it doing? Nothing. Because even if they vote against it, the billionaire class, the leadership, the ruling class, if you get in the way of their money, they will come after you with everything they have. Now, not all of them are psychopathic, but a lot of them are. And Fuentes knows this. This isn't a secret. Look at that fuckhead in New Jersey that I just covered the other day. And who's he? He's probably not even a billionaire. He's rich, but he's not at that level. And he's coming after that community for $300 million because they dared to vote against his data center. This is what's going to happen everywhere. This is what is going to now happen as a result of Trump executing the executive order in Boulder City, in Southeast Nevada, just outside of Vegas. Now it's on public land. You think that's the last one? They probably got dozens of them lined up, ready to go once the first domino falls. I live in a world of black and white. I am very crystal clear about my beliefs. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. But the one thing I hope that anybody who watches this channel can take away from what I say on a regular basis is that you never have to question whether I have ulterior motives. I do what I do and I say what I say because I give a damn. Someone asked me recently, if you had a reason to ever run for office, what would it be? And I said, pretty simple. My country is falling apart and no one is doing anything to stop it. I don't want to be involved to the extent that I'm involved in, but I feel like I have no other choice. Because I feel that if I don't, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. I have to speak out against this. I have to use whatever platform I have to try to bring about help, that maybe this gets through to certain people that need to hear it. Because it's dangerous. And I worry if we'll get it right in time. I do.
But I'm against the flock cameras. I just don't like the warrantless spying. I don't like this idea that they're just collecting information about everything you do. Increasingly, there's just no freedom anymore. You can't move money without it being watched. You can't move your car without it being watched. You can't go anywhere without being recorded on audio and video. We truly live in a surveillance state. So I'm basically against every and any expansion of that. It's too much. It's too much. You already got tollways. You got fucking satellites. You got phones. Now you need license plate readers everywhere, and you don't need a warrant to get the information. You don't have enough fucking data on everybody. It's like everybody's got a GPS camera microphone in their pocket. That's not enough. Cell towers, tollway cameras. So I'm against flock cameras, but I'm going to stop short of saying you should take matters into your own hands and blow them up, because I don't want you to go to jail, and I think there'll be a crackdown on that.
Veronica sent $50.
Yeah. It is kind of also amazing how much money he makes off of his channel and how his followers are so generous with their cash. But as I said, no, there is no point about flock cameras. And here's the thing. The flock cameras are being taken down. The flock cameras are being taken down and they're being replaced by other surveillance cameras known as Axon. And where does Axon come from? Israel. We are in a surveillance state. We've been in it for a while. This isn't new. And it is unfortunate. But again, there is this uprising that is happening in this country. And all too often, when things go the way that they go, and everyone's looking around and watching everything collapse, the fact of the matter is, it kind of needs to happen this way. You know, the thing that the Zionists talk about constantly is comfort, creatures of comfort. I don't feel safe. I have the right to be safe. No, you don't. Being safe and being comfortable is a privilege. And when people get out of their comfort zones, that's usually when people start to make moves, especially Americans. Americans are creatures of comfort, been that way for far too long. And in the end, People getting uncomfortable is what is going to get them in the streets and get them doing stuff. You have a data center nearby, not good. Flock cameras all around, not good. Can't afford food, water, clothes, not good. Eventually, everything just starts to become so overly concentrated into such few people's hands. But who knows? Maybe part of the so-called Great Reset is that they really do want to kill off a considerable portion of the population, which should not surprise anybody. In many ways, that's probably par for the course in terms of what the intentions are, why we feel the way that we do, and how things can ultimately unfold. But I would be very concerned. And that's why when Fuentes says what he says, believe him. Like I said, he's good at misdirection. He's good at making you think he's really on your side. But the second you say, I'm for data centers, that's it. That's the giveaway. And how do I know that that's the giveaway? This is how I know for sure that it is the giveaway. Now, I have said before, and I will say again, there is no excuse. There has never been an excuse as to why he was able to get away with what he got away with on January 6th when others did substantially less than he did. And many of them went to prison for years. He didn't get so much as a slap on the wrist. So the only possibility, as far as I can tell, is that he's on the inside. Now, what that looks like, I don't know. Is he a Fed? Maybe. He could be a lot of things. He just 1,000% is a protected asset within the establishment. You can't do that. You can't get on a megahorn and say, storm the Capitol and get away with it. And he got away with it. And he's a public figure. This isn't some rando in the crowd who managed to run away that no one saw. He's a very popular streamer. And so when somebody asks, how can you be so sure that this guy, thank you, Jamie. Appreciate you staying up late with us. And a shout out to all of our internationals that are here this evening. There is no question that Fuentes is dangerous. He's good, but he is dangerous. And so when his audience hears him say, I think data centers are fine, that's dangerous. So here's hoping enough people are going to start to wake up regarding all of these influencers. And I am not here to tell you, oh, how come you listen to these other guys? If you like our channel, that's great. And I appreciate you all being here. And I hope that you'll smash that like button if you haven't done it already and share the stream if you can. I don't sit around thinking, how is it that we only have as many viewers as we do? And yet, all these other channels that we feel that we're capable of competing with have so much more. It's because what we're learning is that either you're a team player or you're not. Do you realize we're at almost 130,000 subscribers and we still have not received a plaque for the work we did getting to 100,000? We still haven't gotten it. So we understand that we're a marked channel. And we're marked for a reason that is the complete opposite of why somebody like Fuentes would be marked. Fuentes plays within the rules of the establishment. We play outside. And we really play fast and loose outside. Because again, it's the right thing to do. Being right is not a bulletproof vest. But then again, would you do it any other way?